Success and equity. You'll find them at BC. Success is what you want. Equity is when we give you the tools and help to get that success. It doesn't matter who you were before. We're here to level the playing field and create a fair world where you can succeed no matter who you are, what you look like, or where you were before. We'll tell you how on BCTV.
And now your host, Francis Mayer.
Hello, folks. Welcome to Success and Equity on BCTV. I'm Francis Mayer, and I get to work with young people at Bakersfield College every day, and it's pretty awesome. And when I say young people, I mean folks who have not made as many trips around the sun as others. But here's the thing about Bakersfield College is that anybody, regardless of your age, regardless of your lifestyle, regardless of your there used to be ethnicity. There used to be this thing where they'd say, race, creed, or color. And I don't think we say color anymore. But, Mr. Graves, yes, we have people from all walks of life at Bakersfield College changing their lives.
This is true. This is true.
Move the microphone up because you're using.
How about that?
That's yes. You were
using
better? Yes, you were using a very, how do I put it, compelling voice before. But this is better. We can hear you now.
All right.
You are not 19 years old and fresh out of high school.
I am not. I'm actually 39.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would not have guessed that.
A lot of water. No, I'm just kidding.
No, yes. I'm vain.
All right.
And Fitzgerald, what compelled you to come back to BC and change your life? Because actually rewind there. You and I are very similar in age.
Right.
And when I think about going back to school, I'm horrified. So first of all, I'm really impressed by you. I have 3 children. I'm married. I have a mortgage.
Right.
So while I would like to,
the challenge.
it really is. How do you manage that?
Well, it wasn't a fortunate thing. Basically, what it was is I was working as a campus supervisor for Kern County Superintendent of Schools.
They were lucky to have you. I have to imagine with your laugh and your disposition, you're probably great at that.
I loved that job actually. Well, basically, what happened was I was injured and I couldn't return to that type of work, so I had to go back to school to re-educate. Initially, I started out with a $6,500 voucher, which came through the Workman's Comp program.
Oh, that's cool.
And so that is what assisted me through the first 2 years, and as well as Pell Grants and financial aid. However, it doesn't cover all your expenses, and
Did you do that here at BC?
I did.
Okay,
I did.
Very good.
So I started at BC in 2010 with that voucher. Granted, I've had some challenges financially, unbelievably so, but nonetheless.
And people need to understand that just like with having children,
right.
When people say like, I'll wait till I have enough money, or I'll wait till I get to this station in life,
right.
Don't do that.
Right.
'Cause it's never going to happen. You'll have a child, you'll figure it out.
Right. Well, at the same time, too, like, not everything you can plan. I mean,
no,
granted,
really
I've
can't.
made choices that, have not always worked out, and still, you got to fight through it all.
Yeah, you can't give up.
You can't. I mean, one choice, like you say, when you're having kids, having kids is a huge responsibility.
It's tremendous, life-altering.
And when you cannot provide for them adequately, it's a very hard burden to carry. And so that's one of the reasons why I fight so hard to finish school, because in my earlier life, I
think
made
it's
some
okay
choices.
to say lives. Right.
Multiples, right?
Yeah.
I made some choices that have made moving forward very challenging. But I know that my kids are watching me, and I have to show them that no matter the mistakes you make, you can always pick up the pieces, redeem yourself, move forward, because you may have made a bad choice yesterday, but today is a different day. Tomorrow's a different day. And although they're not promised, you can plan to do better. And by doing so, you make a difference, period, because you're not going to stay in the same mindset. And as you're moving forward, you're going to interact, you're going to meet people, and those people are going to give you insight. And some of us don't come from the same foundation. Some of us come from unstable beginnings. Some of us come from very solid beginnings. And those of us who've come from that unstable, we tend to make more mistakes because that's the model we've seen.
And let's talk about that for just a minute, because it's something Americans don't like to do.
Right.
It's okay. I'm fine.
Right.
No, yes, Dad's on vacation. My dad was in prison
Wow.
when I was growing up.
Right.
Most of the time.
I never met my father. So.
Okay, so you and I, yeah, we have that in
Right.
common. I met him, but he was more like a brother.
Right.
You know, and you're correct. You also maybe don't feel like you have something to live up to, because I know my grandparents were like, my God, if he just stays out of the joint,
Right.
he's won.
He's won.
Whereas my mom, on the other hand, was like, I think you could be a lawyer.
Right.
Not hire one or be appointed one because you're
Yeah.
indigent, but you could hire one, right?
Yeah.
But you're right. It does set the bar low. But what, I don't know if you discovered this, but what I found is that setting the bar low for yourself kind of sucks.
Big time.
It involves breaking your back.
Big time.
It involves doing things you don't want to do on a regular basis.
Well, again, you talk about setting the bar low. That's what a lot of youth in the community see. They see the bar set so low. I can't say that the bar was set low by my grandparents, and I can't say that my mom didn't give it her best. But there were other things going on that, because of the things they were dealing with themselves from issues that they had, it prevented them from seeing what was occurring. And when that happens, you become the victim, but you don't have to remain the victim.
No.
You can become the victor. And that happens only by acknowledging what you went through. Yes, it was traumatic. Yes, it hurt. Yes, it damaged me. However, now I have control. I'm driving the car. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to get a full tank, and I'm going to go the speed limit for a while, and I'm going to try to make the right stops and try not to get into an accident so that, I can have a chance to carry someone else on this journey safely. And that's really what my whole plight is that it doesn't, I made those bad choices earlier in life, and those mistakes have groomed me to help other youth to see it before they get there.
See, okay, if you tell anybody nothing else except that mistakes can groom you.
Right.
And I know somebody who went to medical school and was a doctor, and he did come from one of those families that you and I probably fantasized about when we were little.
Right.
Grandpa, grandma, all these cousins, everybody's got clean clothes and
everyone
jobs.
around the table during the
Yes!
holidays. Yeah.
Dude, that table haunted
centered.
me as a child.
It does. And the donuts with Dad.
Yes,
Gosh.
absolutely. Gosh.
Father's Day was like my worst holiday. Like, even to this day, sometimes I still have to keep it in perspective, because I just remember loaning for that just silhouette walking by. Hey, I'm here. And then just protect you and, let's go, do something, son. And so when not being accessible to my kids at times because of choices I made or because of, bad relationship choices I've made.
Sure.
I know the impact that has. And so I always try to make myself readily available these days, and, trying to make sure that, hey, if you need me, I'm here. I know I wasn't there when you were younger, but, I'm here to tell you, hey, you have the opportunity to do better. And if you do better, guess what? You won't make the same mistakes I made.
That's the dang truth. And what we're talking about here is, like, you and I are approaching 40.
Right.
We can see it out there on the horizon. God willing, we should make it to 40.
Amen.
But modern medicine tells us we're going to live to be in our 80s.
I'm not listening to modern medicine.
No.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, no, but you know what I
Right.
mean.
We're going to be around a while.
Right. And we would be fools to not take advantage of all the opportunities that life gives us to reinvent ourselves. And a lot of that can happen at Bakersfield College.
Exactly.
You and I, like I was telling you about my friend who went to medical school, the way medical school and residencies work is he was like 35, 36 years old when he finally got out on his own.
Right.
Got himself an apartment, opened up a
business.
practice.
Right.
Yeah. And he made every single mistake that you and I made in our early 20s.
Wow.
But he was almost 40.
Right.
And I just thank God that as I go into my 40th decade, I can, as you said, those mistakes groomed me to have a successful middle life.
Correct.
And later life.
And another thing is, one thing I remember is that when I first initiated this educational, I didn't think I could be an academic. Honestly, I mean, you give me some construction, some yard work, repairs, that I can do that, roofing, whatever, But put a book in front of me, it's like having that discipline to concentrate and focus and retain the information. That was my challenge. But again, it's a practice. It's about how much you want to make sure that the old life you had isn't the new life you're aiming for. And so for me, making those changes it was imperative. I you get to a point, I don't want to say disgust, but just you're done. and you say, look, something's got to change. You got to break the cycle. Because you're perpetuating a sadness and a hurt that not only it doesn't just impact you, the individual that's dealing. It impacts everyone around you, and then the community, because you can't contribute to it and give anything back because you're still dealing with your own cyclone and spinning and causing destruction. So that's the main reason. Like going back to school was a must because it's the avenue, it's the vehicle, it's what transport you from being regular Joe to somebody that knows, and then someone with credibility, and someone will take seriously. And so I just feel like this is a calling and it's a journey. When I started working as a campus supervisor, I knew I wanted to do more for at-risk youth because I was one. I knew that as I got further into my education, that maybe being an advocate, it's a calling for me. But now I don't know, that pre-law, it looks pretty good, man, because then, you really have some authority. You can go, get some legislation push. You can, petition and, someday
enact
work in
huge
bureaucracy.
change.
Yeah, that's what the goal. I mean, because the thing is, it's one thing to be a civil activist. It's one thing to be a community activist. It's one thing to be an advocate. But it's a whole nother to actually have the ability to put in legislature, to actually put something on the books that changes the current status quo situation for you.
Absolutely. Yes, you can change the way human beings actually live life.
Right.
And it was amusing to me because you came into BC and you were like, I want to do this one thing and then I want to do the other. I've never been at a place in my life where there were so many people waiting for you to put in work. And if you show them, you're like, help. Like you were saying, I'm lost. I can't do this anymore. The life I've been living is a fraud. It's not honest to myself. It's not good for my people. It's not good for the community. They're like, all right, you need to sign up for student development. You know what I mean? And then it all starts. And then if you're willing to put in the work, they're like, the changes start happening like it happened to you. And then you discovered, like, civil activist. And somebody was like, well, let me tell you, you could enact legislation if you got a law degree. Most U.S. presidents had a law degree.
That's how most things in life work, right? You see the outside of it. And you wonder how it works internally.
Oh, yeah.
And then once you find out how it works internally, then you say, well, what's the reason behind it?
Yeah.
And then you start finding out the reason behind it and then the logic. So now you understand the cycle of the data. It's like, this is the reason, this is its purpose, and this is how it works. This is what,
and this is what it does.
Exactly.
And this is why.
Exactly. And so and then as you get older in life, you start doing the same thing with your life. Why?
Yeah, why are my property taxes this much? Well, because
that's because of where you live.
right. But why property taxes? What do they go to? Who collects them? Why do I have to pay them?
School boards, exactly. Sure. Helping our education.
Absolutely,
all those things. Yeah.
And speaking of discovering the causation and how something happens, we're going to take a quick break and get some word out to our sponsors. When we come back, Fitzgerald Graves is going to talk to us about how he made the leap from a guy who was kind of lost and, as he put it, kind of a cyclone in the center of his social world. So now he's contributing, and he is a helpful wind at Bakersfield College. He's involved with student government, and they are bringing the fun for homecoming.
Amen.
It's an inclusive process. Anybody who's on campus, heck, anybody in the community can get involved. But we'll tell you about that and more when we come back with more Success and Equity on BCTV.